So about a month ago I played all of Nintendo's mobile games. However, the one corner I didn't get to explore was the many Pokémon apps. After being asked in the comment section of the video to explore them, I dove head first. I've been a pretty big fan of Pokémon as a franchise my whole life, between the games, cards, and anime, but I had only experienced a handful of the mobile side of the series. There are a total of 11 apps to cover, so there's no time to waste. We'll go in order of release, as best as I could. This was one of the few apps I had already played well before this video, on a previous phone. Re-downloading it and starting over really felt good, and the game is just as fun as I remember. It does get a little unnecessarily hard when you get to the higher levels, but there are enough other modes in the game to keep you occupied while you get power-ups and other things that can help you. I was already a pretty big fan of Match 3 games, but I like this one the most out of any of the ones I've played, because you can freely move pieces around the board and it makes the game a lot more strategic than just hoping for good generation with something along the lines of Candy Crush. What is there to say that hasn't already been said about Pokémon GO? Just like everyone else at the time, I was someone who played this game 24/7 and was wandering my local parks at 2 a.m. with my dad looking for the pocket monsters. I really loved the concept and execution of this game, and was so happy to see how it brought everyone together at the time. Re-downloading it for this video, I was surprised I could recover my old account and explore what 15-year-old me was up to in a game, as well as experience some of the updates that had happened since the last time I played. Personally, I don't think I would ever get super into this game again. There was just something so special about that summer and the community the game had that for the most part has slowed down as the game's aged. It was fun, however, to go down memory lane. Before downloading all of the apps to prepare this video, I was absolutely sure that this game had been delisted. I remember playing this when it first came out, and I was surprised to still see it downloadable and playable. This game is super simple in concept, but similar to Quest, it's a game I just couldn't stop playing. The visuals are pretty cute, and the gameplay loop can be interesting at times, especially once you unlock random encounters and get further into the league battles. Also similar to Quest, I found myself halfway through the game before I chose to stop and move on. Although I am checking in on my Magikarp here and there, even as I'm recording this. I was super skeptical of this game when I first started it up. On its surface, there doesn't appear to be much of a game here, and instead almost everything is done for you automatically. That being said, I cannot begin to describe to you how engulfed in this game I got. I could not put it down for a concerning amount of time. I'm not entirely sure why. Something about the gameplay loop was just super satisfying to me, and I ended up playing half the game before forcing myself to stop so I could record the rest of the games for this video. I'm not sure it would be for everyone, but definitely check this one out and try any and all of it. I had never heard of this game before, and when I pulled up the App Store list of Pokemon games, I thought for a second that this one might be bootleg because it wasn't published by the Pokemon Company like the others. But then I noticed that it was published by Dina, the app development arm Nintendo purchased and then did nothing with. And now that I do know it exists, I had a good amount of fun with this one. I would say out of all the games we look at today, this is one that feels the most like the console games in its battle system and storyline. I can't see this as a game I would get super into, but I enjoyed enough of my time while playing it. I wonder if this game was more well known or advertised when it came out, because even as a pretty big Pokemon fan, I had never even heard the name. This isn't a game at all, but I thought it was important to look at every Pokemon app, game or not. Home is, as the name suggests, a home for your Pokemon that you've caught across a number of Pokemon Switch games. The concept is really cool, being able to transfer your captures between games, but I found I filled my box almost immediately and couldn't add any more Pokemon without paying up money. I really think the functions of this app are super limited without paying, which sucks because you already have to pay so much for the games themselves, and although something like this isn't really needed for a casual player, I feel this app should be free for those who have already purchased one of the supported games. This was one of the only games in the video I had never heard of before I watched the amazing video called "Which Smash Bros. Character Have Canonically Eaten Pizza?", in which he uses the game to prove that the Pokemon present in Smash have in fact eaten pizza. Now, having played it myself, I think this game is really cute. It's not the most fun thing I've played, but it kept me entertained well enough and I never found myself wanting to give up on it. So I suppose that's a success overall. The one thing I can say is that the game is absolutely gorgeous. The art style is incredible, it's adorable, and seeing all the Pokemon in the little cafe uniform was cuteness overload. Other than visuals though, I wouldn't recommend sinking a bunch of time into this one. Similar to Sleep, I think this app is a really cute idea. I think if I were a kid with this app, it would help me brush my teeth a lot more often. Seeing the template of where to brush and when, as well as fighting the little ghosts, would for sure have motivated me to brush more often. The art style was okay, but I don't actually think it was all that cute, and instead I think it was trying a little too hard. Overall, I'm not the target audience of an app like this, but I think it's a really cute idea. I had heard of the reputation this game had, and I wasn't looking forward to this game as I was getting started. To put it bluntly, the game is boring. It's really boring. The object is to essentially fight other Pokemon in an arena to get more points so that you can score goals. There really isn't much strategy to how you approach anything, and the mechanics never get any more interesting over time. I think I spent the least amount of time on this one out of all of them, as this is the game I had the least fun with by a long shot. This was the app I was the most excited to finally try out. I didn't realize this service was still active, similar to Magikarp Jump, but when I did find out they were, I was super happy. I loved the actual card game of Pokemon, but never found myself with people or a group I could consistently play with. This app is the perfect way to play the game without having to physically find someone to play it with. This is the Pokemon equivalent to something like Magic the Gathering Arena, and I couldn't be happier that it's still playable. If you need a way to play more of the card game, even if it's virtual, this app is the best way to go. I highly recommend this one. I remember a while ago getting a ton of Instagram ads for this app. I resisted using it at the time, but as I was making this video, I had to finally cave and play it. This app is a really cute idea. As someone who has a horrible sleep schedule, an app like this would legitimately help me, and it did in the few days I used it. I like the idea of being able to set your own bedtime instead of it telling you when to sleep, and the incentives of more Pokemon showing up really make me want to make the app proud. I think the art style is very cute, and I just think overall this is a really good app idea. Listed on Pokemon's website are 3 additional mobile apps I wasn't able to play. This being Pokemon Duel, Pokemon Rumble Rush, and Pokemon Playhouse. Now the first 2 have been discontinued for a number of years now, but Pokemon Playhouse is still active. However, I have too new of an Android phone, and it will not allow me to download the game onto my phone. As I said, it was made for older Android devices. I don't have any opinions on these since I wasn't able to play them myself, but for the sake of being thorough, I wanted to cover all of the games talked about on the Pokemon website. Overall, I think Pokemon has had a really good showing in its mobile space. One thing I really liked over the other Nintendo ones was that it was not as focused on microtransactions. They were there for sure, but not shoved in your face the same way as something like Mario Run, I guess with the exception of Pokemon Home. I also enjoyed the wide variety of games, even if they all belonged to the same franchise. Each one had their own identity, not only in gameplay, but even art styles and interpretations of the Pokemon. I'm pleased with my experience, and I kept even a few of them downloaded on my phone. What game franchises do you want to see me play next? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see what we get up to next. Thanks for watching.